Good morning, everybody. My name is Mr. Samuel, like you all know, and today we'll be looking into real depth and apparent depth. But before we go on, let us make a little recap of what we did in the last class. We discussed about refraction of light, and we also went into refractive index. And I told you that when you are dealing with refractive index of air and glass, for example, let's say medium 1 and medium 2, the refractive index will be medium 2 with respect to medium 1 will be equal to what? Sine high of medium 1 over sine r in medium 2. We also said it can be something like this. Refractive wavelength in medium 1 over wavelength in medium 2. We also said this, and we told you we proved that our refractive index of medium 2 with respect to medium 1 can be equal to what? 1 over refractive index of medium 1 with respect to medium 2. I want to believe that we can still record this. Okay? Oh, sorry. So, today we will be looking into real depth and apparent depth, like I said earlier, and I want to quickly explain this. Now, we are going to be looking at the first scenario of a pool, okay? And this is our pool, okay? This is our pool. You have your object that is being thrown into a pool at this very position. Sorry for that technical glitch. This is the object thrown into a pool at this very position. Okay, let's call it point O, right? Let's call this point O. And you have this human standing over here looking at this object at this position. But the truth is this is the real position of the object. But this person over here will actually be seeing this object in a different position inside the water. And that is why most of the pool or most of the river will look as if it is a shallow, more shallow than its real depth. Yes, and that's why if you're not careful, you can jump into a river before you know how deep it is. Now, this is what happened. When you are looking at another object at this point inside the pool, you have two rays. Let's say ray OP and ray OR. Okay, these two rays will serve as your incidence rays. Now, once these two rays reach this point and this point respectively, they are now entering into another medium. Remember, this is water. Okay, this is the medium water. Now, over here we have air, which is another medium entirely. So when your ray of light leaves the water, at this point entering the what? Sorry, at this point entering into entering into the air. What happens is that your ray of light will be refracted. Remember, when the ray of light is changing, is entering from one medium into another, there will be a change of speed, and there will be refraction and a change in direction. So there's a change of speed, and the speed is moving in this direction of PQ. The same thing, instead of this is coming as OR from here, OR, but when it gets here, it turns to what? It turns to RS. It has been refracted. Now, if you produce these two refracted rays, if you produce it a bit longer, they meet at a point. The point where they both meet is where we call our point I, point of intersection. Okay, our point I, point of intersection I. Now, at this point where the two produce ray meet, which is here, that is where you will be seeing your object. At this point is where an observer will be seeing the object. This person looking here will be seeing the object here instead of seeing it here. Now, from your N to your O, which is the real position of the object, is the real depth. While from your N to your I, which is the point of intersection of the two refracted rays, is your what? Is your apparent depth. Your real depth NO and your apparent depth N high. That is real depth and apparent depth. Now, your refractive index. Your refractive index is also known to be equal to your real depth all over your apparent depth. I know you already have all this in your notes anyway. You already have this in your notes. This is just an explanation of the notes. So your refractive index can also be your what? Your real depth over your apparent depth. So in case you have been given the real depth of an object NO and the apparent depth, and then you can also find your refractive index. Now remember that for this case, this refractive index is like a refractive index of, remember the ray is moving from water to air. So you can find the refractive index using what? Real depth over apparent depth. Okay. Also, you can also have another phenomenon whereby an object, or let's say like a rod, is being inserted into a bucket or a bowl filled with water. Okay, now let me show you how that one looks. Okay, so that's that for this. Let me give you another explanation. Okay, when you have a rod being inserted into a probably a bowl, let's go to the next page. Now I've drawn it already here. You have it here. Let's make this big a bit. Let's make this big here. Okay. Now you have your rod. This is your rod OB. Okay, inserted into a bowl. Okay, filled with water, and you have your object. This is the person looking at it over here. Okay, now remember how we have it earlier. We said that when you are looking at any object inserted or dropped into the water, you will not be able to get the actual height. Okay, you'll be looking at a sort of shallow object than the real object itself. So now you have this rod inserted into water, okay, and you have your observer, as I've said earlier. What happens is that you can see that we have rays. Okay, we have these two rays, okay, coming out from the water. When they reach this point where they enters into another medium, remember we have here our medium here is water, our medium here is air. Now what happens? It will be refracted. You can see that it is refracted and refracted. Okay, good. And like we did earlier, when you produce these two refracted rays backward, they meet at a point called point high. They meet at this particular point. So when they meet at this particular point, that is the point where your object will appear to the observer here. The observer will be seeing the object at high instead of at O. Okay, the observer will be seeing the object at I instead of at O. So that is just the logic about your apparent height and your what, and your apparent depth and real depth. So let's go into a few calculations, then we'll be done with this topic. I love calculation a lot. So let's go into calculation, then we'll be done with this topic. Okay. Let me quickly give us a little something. Sorry about that. There's something we call lateral displacement. Okay, we have lateral displacement. It can also be referred to as upward displacement or apparent displacement. Let me just write this. Lateral displacement. Lateral displacement can also be called upward displacement or apparent displacement. Now, don't get confused. This is very simple. The lateral upward or apparent displacement, which can be represented by A, is equal to your real depth minus your apparent depth. Okay, and you can say that your A equals to your R minus your E, where this is your apparent or lateral or upward displacement, this is your real depth, and this is your apparent depth. Okay, so after that has been said, let's go into question. So maybe we'll solve about 1 or 2 questions to illustrate, just to see what we have done about our real depth and apparent depth thing. That will be all for today. Okay, now let's solve some question like I said earlier. Let's move to the next page, and you have this question already written. According to what we have here, this is a rectangular prism. Okay, that's a rectangular prism, and we have our normal as usual. Good. The question says, calculate the refractive index of the material of the glass block shown in the figure above if YZ is 4 centimeter. If YZ is 4 centimeter. Now let us interpret what is written, what we have on the board here. Looking at this, from our past experience, from what we discussed earlier, we said this is a sort of incident ray. Okay, the ray is emerging from the glass, and when it gets to this point, it refracted. The ray refracted into this direction. We can see that this is our hair, according to what we have here, and this is the glass. So the ray is emerging. Okay, we have a ray, this incident ray starting from this point Z. Okay, starting from this point Z up to this level is still inside the glass. So after it gets to this point, it's now leaving the surface of the glass, leaving the medium of the glass, entering into the air, and it's refracted. Which means we have our real depth, which is where this object is located here. And then remember that this refracted ray, we used to produce it backward. It has been produced backward here, and now this image here, or this object here, instead of appearing at Z, will be appearing at Y. I think you can recall from what we did here. You can remember the object is supposed to be appearing at O, but it will be appearing at high. Also, we also do the same thing here. When the object at O here will be appearing at what? At high, because we produce these two backward. I think you can recall. Now let's continue. So remember, I told you something in the first page. Let me quickly go back there. I said our N high will be the what? The apparent depth, while our N O will be the what? Will be the real depth. And we said our refractive index equals to what? Equals to our real depth over our apparent depth. Okay. So let's continue. So, which means for us to find our refractive index, we need to find our what? we need our read depth. Let me call it read depth r dot d, and we need our what, our apparent depth. Let me call it a dot d. Now, from what we have on the board here, what will be our read depth? What will be our read depth? Going back to the first page, this is the read depth from the top here to the bottom of the what, of the pool, right? So coming back here, what will be our read depth? Our read depth will be from here, from this point. This is the point X to our point Z, which is the thickness of the rectangular block itself. Okay, in case you may see another question, it is the thickness of the block, which is what? Which is 10 centimeter. Sorry. So we have it to be what? To be 10 centimeter. And then we need to find our what? We need our apparent depth, because the question has also find what? Find the refractive index. We have to find the refractive index. So, and our refractive index will be what? Read depth over apparent depth. Now we know our read depth to be what? To be 10 centimeter. What is our apparent depth? Looking at the first page, I said our apparent depth is the distance between the top of the pool and the position where the object is appearing. Okay, the distance between the top of the pool and the position where the object is appearing to the viewer or to the observer. So over here, you can see that this is the point. At this point, Y is where the object is appearing to the viewer to the top of this place. Okay, and they said according to the question, they said our YZ. Okay, YZ is what? Is 4 centimeter. YZ is what? Is 4 centimeter. That is from here to here is 4 centimeter. Now, the total height here is 10 centimeter. This is our apparent height, NY, which we don't know. So to find our apparent depth, it will be the total length or the total depth, okay, which is XY, rather XZ minus YZ, because our apparent depth is the same as saying XY. Okay, so you can say XY equals to XZ minus what? Minus YZ. Okay, now continue. I can say that our apparent depth can be equal to, what is XZ? Remember, our XZ is from here to here. Okay, that's our XZ, which is what? Which is 10 centimeter. Oh, sorry, 10 centimeter minus what? Minus YZ, and our YZ according to the question is what? 4 centimeter. So our apparent depth is the same thing as saying 10 minus 4, which is what? 6 centimeter. So now that's our apparent depth. We have our read depth to be what? 10 centimeter, and our apparent depth to be what? To be 6 centimeter. So from here, let's find our what? Our refractive index. The refractive index will be what? Now our refractive index will be equals to read depth over apparent depth, which is equal to 10 over 6. If you like, I put centimeter anyway to cancel that anyway. And when you do that, your 10 over 6 will definitely give you 1.6. Okay, and at last you are going to have 7, which you can approximate to be what? 1.67. And that's our refractive index. That's our refractive index. Very simple, right? Yes, very simple. Let's solve another question. Okay, let's move to another example, which will be the last for today because of the length of the recording. Now the question says a rectangular glass prism of thickness 12 cm is placed on a mark on a piece of paper resting on a horizontal bench. If the refractive index of the material of the prism is 1.5, calculate the apparent displacement of the mark. Calculate the apparent displacement of the mark. Remember earlier I told you something about your lateral apparent or upward displacement. Let's move to the next. Okay. Where did I mention it? I said look at it over here. I told you, I said you can have a lateral displacement or upward displacement or apparent displacement, which I said your apparent displacement is small letter A equals to your what? Your real displacement minus your apparent, your real depth minus your what? Your apparent depth. Okay, looking into this, let's write the formula. Let's start the solution proper. Let's write solution. We've known that our apparent let's write our apparent displacement equals to our real depth minus our apparent depth. Apparent displacement equals to real depth minus apparent depth. Now let's go into this and let's look at the parameters we have. What are the parameters we have? We have first, we have something here, thickness of the prism. Thickness. Let me give you what I mean by that. This is your, let me just make a little look at it here. This is your rectangular block. This is the thickness, right? This is the thickness. This thickness is the same thing as your what? Your real depth. I told you earlier, I said the same thing as your what? As your real depth. I hope you didn't forget. It's the same thing as your what? As your real depth. Okay. Now, which means your 12 centimeter is our what? Our real depth. Real depth equals to what? 12 centimeter. And then we were being told that we have what? We also have what? If the refractive index, we have the refractive index to the what? 1.5. Our refractive index has been given to the what? To the 1.5. So, refractive index has been given to the what? 1.5. Now, we don't know our what? Our apparent depth. Our apparent depth is unknown. Let's say we don't know our apparent depth, and we don't know our apparent displacement. But the question says that we should calculate our what? Our apparent displacement. So, which means that for us to calculate our apparent displacement, we need to first of all find our what? Our apparent depth. So, which means for us to be able to complete what we are doing, this one will be the first one to be found. We will first find this, then we can now find this. So now, let's find our apparent depth. For us to find our apparent depth, we know that the relationship between real depth, apparent depth, and the refractive index is what? Our refractive index equals to real depth all over apparent depth. Okay, which means for us to find it will be RD over AD, and our AD will now be equal to what? RD over N. I I don't think I'm too fast here. I think we can all understand this. The only thing I did here was to make our apparent depth subject of the formula, and I'm sure you are familiar with that from your mathematics. So definitely let's move on. Our apparent depth will now be equal to what? What's our real depth? 12 all over what? 1.5. So when you point your calculator, 12 divided by 1.5, what do you have? You can do it over there. You done right? Good. Yes, I'm sure you have done that. Your apparent depth will now be equal to what? 8 centimeters. So if your apparent depth is equal to 8 centimeters, that means you've calculated, you've done the first one. Number one has been done. Now let's go to our apparent displacement, or they can give you as lateral displacement or upward displacement, any way to call it. So which means we are now coming back into this. We'll be coming back into this formula, which means our apparent displacement will be equals to what? Equals to real depth minus apparent depth, which is equals to 8, which is equals to 12 minus 8. Everything in what? In centimeter. And then our apparent depth will now be equal to what? 4 centimeter. Is that not so simple? Very simple. Very simple. Let's quickly make a recap of everything we've done today. Then that'll be the end. Then I'll give you see your assignment on the Google Classroom as usual. Okay, look at this. We started from where here we talked about an object being placed at position O, okay, and an observer looking at the object. This object is inside the what? The pool or the water, but the object is at this position. This observer over here will not be seeing this object at this point O, but rather it will be seeing it at this point high here due to refraction and the movement of ray of light from one medium into another. And we told you that your refractive index will be this. Then we moved on and we discussed another phenomenon which is likely, in fact almost the same thing, about a rod that is being placed into a bowl of water. And we told you that you are going to be having a shallow image of the object instead of the real image. You will be having your image at high, which is the point of intersection of the two refraction ray or refracted ray of the what? Of the object inside the water. So we also talked about the lateral displacement or upward or apparent displacement, which we said is equal to what? Real depth minus apparent depth. And you have this as a formula. Okay. Then we looked into our first example. This. You can play this video again if you have any problem with any of these, and then you can also give me your question online. Any question that I see that is worthy of being tackled, I will make a video of it and I'll send it back to you. So that's that about that. Thank you very much, everybody. Check your assignment online on your Google Classroom, and please submit before the due time. Thank you very much.